What's going on, guys? I'm Jada Black. Salute to everyone tuning in. I want to talk about Michelle Beadle. She is a former ESPN employee and host of various shows. She crawled from whatever rock she was under to speak about LeBron James once again, but not only about LeBron James, but about his son Bronny. Okay, we all know that Michelle Beadle is no fan of LeBron. She has been accusing him of trying to get her fired from ESPN over some, in her words, minor criticism. And she's held this grudge. And now, instead of going at LeBron, she is in a passive aggressive way going at Bronny James, because Bronny James has decided that he wants to follow in his father's footsteps and play basketball. And I'm sure it's due to him having a passion for it. I don't think it's just because he's trying to live up to his dad. I mean, Bronny James is his own guy. I mean, look at the girls he dates. You know, the guy is a gamer. I don't think that he's out here just trying to live off his father's legacy. He wants to do something on his own. But she's interpreted as him trying to follow in his footsteps and failing. And she has gone on to say that maybe he needs to find another profession, that he does not need to be trying to play basketball, that he needs to go and try to, become an engineer or something else. First of all, Michelle Beadle, there have been plenty of athletes who had fathers who were greats in their sport. Look at Barry Bonds, his father, Bobby Bonds. Look at Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, we've seen sons who were able to surpass their father's fame, notoriety, and their placement in the sport. Now, those are just a few examples. I'm not saying that Bronny James is going to become LeBron James, but he doesn't have to. LeBron James is a generational talent. Generational. There ain't a lot of LeBron James out here. That's why he's always compared to Michael Jordan. And she also had something to say about that as well. This whole subliminally trying to go at LeBron by taking digs at his son, people are going to say, well, that's just criticism, Jay. But you got to look at the criticism. This guy, he's 18 years old. Okay? He hasn't stepped foot on a college campus that I know of yet. Right? He's still in high school. So for her to still have this weird obsession with LeBron James and try to now go at Bronny James, trying to make it seem like he's already failed as a basketball player when he hasn't even had the opportunity to play in college, just shows you the type of person Michelle Beadle really is. This is just her way of taking digs at LeBron James. And you're telling an 18-year-old that, no, don't worry about trying to be your dad. You're going to fail at trying to be LeBron James. Go be an engineer. Go do a skill trade, become something else. Like, do you tell this to all these athletes, children who follow their father's footsteps? No, you don't. Because you're just saying this because you have some axe to grind with LeBron James. That's what this looks like to me. Because no one was checking for Michelle Beadle. Now Michelle Beadle's doing all these interviews, probably for some new failed venture podcast that she's looking to do. I'm not sure what she's up to. But more failure. And again, she has this issue with LeBron James that she refused to let go because nobody believes her white tears. Everybody looks upon her and they mock her because she's someone who destroyed her own career at ESPN. She's been living off that buyout money that she got from them. And now all of a sudden she's resurfacing looking even worse. Okay, this woman ages double. It's like ages 2 or 3 times every year. The woman looks horrible, and she's out here criticizing an 18-year-old who hasn't even gotten started yet with his basketball career. I understand that you feel like you're giving him good advice, but to me, I think that advice is hollow. You're not criticizing any other athlete's sons, but you're critical of Bronny James. You're critical of Bronny. D Wade, what about D Wade's son? I mean, even though he's a little bit older than Bronny, but what about Shaquille O'Neal's son? But you have all this criticism, even though Shaquille O'Neal's son's in the NBA, but you're still not telling him he needs to go do something else. He's not going to live up to his father, Shaq, right? This to me just seems like her way of trying to take a dig at LeBron James. That's how this comes across. So let's get into this. Let's get into this article here from the Spun. It says Bronny James Jr. has been an NBA prospect that teams have had their eyes on since he was a preteen, but now that he's on the verge of becoming NBA eligible, Michelle Beadle had a blunt assessment of his viability as a player. Speaking to the Spun this week, Beadle was asked if LeBron James Sr. would play long enough to be teammates with his son. While Beadle believes that's certainly a possibility, she asserted that Bronny simply isn't as good as his father right now and is worried that he'll struggle to step out of his father's shadow. But what does that have to do with him being able to play with his dad? All right, what does that have to do with it? He doesn't have to be on LeBron's level to be his teammate. Bronny is nowhere near as good as his dad, but someone will draft him because he's LeBron's son. That's a big shadow to fill, and I sometimes wonder about the kids of the greats, right? Why do the same field that your dad dominated? Go be an engineer. Go into a different field, because you'll never live up to that, ever, Beadle said. Bronny James certainly isn't the kind of once-ever prospect that his father was coming out of high school. Most recruiting analysts have him as a rock-solid 4-star prospect, but one who lacks size and strength that his father had at his age. But Michelle Beadle might be onto something when she suggests that Bronny James will still wound up being drafted because of who his father is. Between Bronny's potential to be anything like his father to the support that drafting him would certainly bring the team from LeBron James Sr., there's a lot of reasons to draft him outside of purely what he can do on the court right now. Okay, again, we're talking about an 18-year-old. Okay, we're talking about a guy that hasn't been coached. You know, once you get around those college coaches, he can find a role. He doesn't have to be LeBron James. He doesn't have LeBron James' size. You know, I'm not sure about the athletic ability. Maybe he does have athletic ability, but you know, not everybody's LeBron James size. LeBron James is he's a generational talent. There ain't gonna be a lot of players like LeBron James. Michelle Beadle knows this. Michelle Beadle knows it. Why does he have to go be an engineer? Why can't he be an NBA player? Be a serviceable NBA player, right? A role player, 6-man, coming off the bench. You can still make a name for yourself in a certain role, and I believe Bronny James can do that. But the amount of criticism that Bronny James has got, not only for off the court things, but the fact that he's LeBron James' son and he'll never be LeBron James, I don't think he's trying to be LeBron James. I think he's trying to be himself. Everything I've seen from Bronny James shows me he wants to be himself, down to his jersey number. I don't think he wants to be LeBron James. I think he wants to be Bronny. And let's say he won't be good enough to make it in the NBA. He'll get basketball out of his system and he'll go do something else. Maybe basketball isn't his number one passion. We don't know. He's 18 years old. Okay? It's just like me saying an 18-year-old female whose mother was a runway model and she wants to follow in her footsteps. Like, you'll never be like your mother. You know why? Because your mother did this and she was a model for this amount of time, right? She had this type of body type. You'll never be able to live up to that. We don't tell women who try to follow in their mother's footsteps that. And with other athletes as well. There's a ton of athletes whose children follow in their footsteps. I don't see criticism in their way at all. But I feel like this criticism to me is very hollow because of who it's coming from and where they're coming from. Me knowing Michelle Beadle, the woman holds a grudge. She's still holding a grudge. She's doubled down on the fact that she believes LeBron James tried to get her fired, right? Even though she got herself fired, right? Her attitude is what got her fired. It wasn't LeBron James. No matter, they tried to put her in all these different roles at ESPN, none of them worked. That's why they got rid of her. They realized we're paying this woman way too much money and she is not being able to consistently be reliable for us. Right? And again, with LeBron James. They ask her about, and this according to Yard Barker, they ask her about who is the GOAT. Read this real quick. In the never-ending debate over NBA's GOAT, NBA reporter Michelle Beadle said Thursday that Michael Jordan still has the edge over LeBron James. Sure. Even though I believe, to me, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. I think his brand overall makes him the GOAT, not only because of the greatness that Michael Jordan has displayed on the court, but the fact that he has become the face of a brand that people support heavy, I think also plays a part into it. Not as much as the on court, but I think that brings in, that helps. Not saying it's a big part of it, but it helps overall, right? Between King James and MJ, which Beadle said will go with us to our graves. All of us go with us to our graves, have been renewed recently as the Los Angeles Lakers star approaches Kareem's all-time scoring record. Following his 20-point triple-double, 28-point triple-double in overtime win over the New York Knicks on Tuesday, James is 89 points from passing Kareem's mark of 38,000 regular season points. For me, Michael Jordan's number one, and I think that the championships won is a big part of that, Beadle said during an interview with Yard Barker. Now, I have heard people say LeBron's passing this record and perhaps getting another ring or two, although we're up against the clock here, then perhaps. But again, it's such a personal preference. It just depends on what you think carries more weight. Now in his 20th season, James has made the NBA Finals 10 times, but has gone just 4-6 in championship round. Jordan played 15 NBA seasons and went 6-0 in the finals. James, who turned 38 in December, told reporters after the win against the Knicks that he's going to be in the league for at least a few more years. Many NBA experts are expecting James to stick around at least through the 2024-25 season, giving him a chance to play with his eldest son, Bronny. But if the four-time MVP plays for at least a few more seasons, that would mean playing into his 40s. James, a 19-time All-Star, became the highest-earning player in NBA history when he signed a 2-year, $97.1 million contract extension with the Los Angeles Lakers last summer. That deal includes a player option for 2024-25 campaign. Let me skip this on this. Regarding the GOAT debate, Beadle says, I can make stats look like anything I want them to look like. I can be for or against something, and I can make the stats reflect that. So for me, it's always Michael Jordan number one, but it's not to say that LeBron's not a close two. A former NBA ESPN reporter, Beadle's co-host Run It Back on FanDuel TV alongside Eddie Gonzalez, Shams, and former NBA forward Chandler Parsons. Beadle previously hosted ESPN NBA Countdown from 2016 to 2019 and said that while she was with the worldwide leader, James tried to get her fired. She's gonna be able to do interviews for years speaking about that. That's her way in, because other than that, she really doesn't have much going on. Listen, I understand criticism is criticism, but to basically tell Bronny James, you need to give up because, your dad is great and you'll never be him, is not the way of going about it. Let him play a year in college before you make that assessment. That's what I would say. The guy is still in high school. He's still in high school. That's just like me criticizing a 3-star or 4-star prospect who may not have the athletic ability of a 5-star. I don't think you're going to be as great as that guy. You might want to do something else, because when you get on campus, you're not going to be able to compete with those guys, or a 2-star. Let's say a school that's known for getting 5 and 4-star recruits, they decide to recruit a 2-star, right? And people are like, man, he has no chance. He's going to be sitting on the bench, or you might as well transfer, right? That guy may come in and play his first year. It just depends on your environment, what you're around, your passions, right? Because I've seen it like with Snoop Dogg's son. Snoop Dogg's son was a football player. He wasn't a rapper. But when he got to college, he quit football because that wasn't his passion. At least let Bronny have 1 year in high school and in college before you go making this assessment, because things change fast. And I'm not going to sit here and try to, in a way, shame him and say, well, you're not as talented as your dad, you need to give it up. And the fact that people are agreeing with that when he hasn't stepped foot on a college campus at all, it just shows me how people overlook this woman and the things that she says. That's why she's constantly unemployed. I guess she's employed again now. So let me say in the comment section, let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll see y'all next one.